You are listening to Charting Wealth for Wednesday, the 15th of March, 2017. We see stocks, gold down, bonds up. Let's jump right into SPY. That's a Standard & Poor's 500 exchange traded fund. It is, of course, crossed through going down the weekly trend line, and we see a confirmed crossover going down. Now, it's not a strong crossover at this point, but we do have the derivative oscillator flipping at the same time the price percent oscillator. For those of you familiar with the MACD, the Moving Average Convergence Divergence Indicator, this is somewhat similar to that, but better. We have a great training on it at the website chartingwealth.com if you want to learn more about the PPO and why we use it. So what do we see going on? Well, the market has been up. It was actually up over the last two-day candle. This two-day candle, the latest one ending on the 14th, is actually a doji. It opened and closed at about the same point. It is green in color, but it portends lots of indecision, and with the down movement in the price percent oscillator and the down movement on the derivative oscillator, we would call that a down move. It is portending more down movement. Now let's just quickly take a quick peek at where we are on the weekly chart. Of course, we can see that the market peaked out all the way back on the week ending the 3rd of March, had a down week the prior week ending on the 10th, and so far this week, it is a down week. Basically, the market is not reaching anywhere near the highs that it had reached back on the week ending the 3rd of March. So we see a stalling in the market. Now, we will have to see what happens on Wednesday. Actually, the Federal Reserve is going to finish up their meeting, and Janet Yellen's going to talk about things. She's going to give a big press conference, and the market has priced in the expectation that the Federal Reserve will continue to up interest rates. We'll see the extent. Will it be 0.25%? Will it be more? What if they don't do it? Well, then you could probably expect the market to soar even more, but chances are the market may very well have priced it in, but again, we don't know. And what do we do when we don't know? We don't trade. We don't take risks. Remember, we are trend followers. My friends, that's where the money is. Let's keep working through these charts. Back to the two-day chart, going on to the Qs. What is the Qs? That's the Nasdaq 100, still above the weekly trend line. We don't have a two-day trend line because we cannot draw one very well at this point. We do see that for the day, we have the Qs down 0.24%. Sorry, the S&P 500 down 0.37. So we do continue to see a bumping up. And in fact, we could try to redraw the two-day trend line. The only thing keeping us from doing that is the fact that the PPO has gone negative on us, just barely, but it has crossed over and closed. Now, if there were another up day on the 14th, the 15th and forward, then we could, of course, going into that triple witching hour or witching day in March. That's on this Friday, but if indeed the market did soar upwards, it could easily pull itself above and you would never even see anything that looked like a crossing because it's just starting. That can be pulled out with some strong up movement. So we'll continue to watch. Nasdaq not nearly as down as the S&P. If we look at what went on intraday on the 2-hour chart, we, of course, see lots of down movement in the morning, a little bit of a recovery in the afternoon, but not enough to make up for all the down movement on the 10 o'clock and the 12 p.m. candles. Now, let's go back to our two-day chart. And again, we still have the weekly vertical crossover is still in effect. Things are still in a positive until we really see that this two-day pullover is locked in. And of course, once we start seeing a cross through in the weekly trend line. But again, lots and lots of caution. I can't imagine that any of you guys are still in a trade. You could be, but again, watch with lots of trepidation, particularly as the market goes into Wednesday, the 15th. Please be careful. Okay. Let's stay on our 2-day chart. Take a look at the only chart up for the day, TLT. That is our 20-year bond fund. We have now 5 2-day candles representing 10 days of downward action. We had a crossover going down, a 2-day vertical crossover going down back on the 8th of March. And again, we're continuing to move down, even though it was an up day for the day, 0.48%. That doesn't obviate what's been going on the last several days. Now, if we look at where things are, we saw the 2-hour trend crossover going up back at 4 p.m. on Friday the 10th. It then moved down on Monday, up some on Tuesday, ended the day down just a little bit overall, though, for the day with that strong up movement on the 10 and the noon, and the 2 o'clock candlesticks on the 2-hour chart up 0.48%. Now remember, we are still in, if we go to our weekly chart, we are still in, we haven't yet had a crossover going down on the weekly chart, so we're still in the up vertical crossover. So we're waiting. We have had the 2-day chart crossover going down. The next should be the weekly. We shall wait and see once that occurs. Those of you who subscribe to our text messaging will get the notification when any of our charts cross over. This is the real bell ringer. When we have crossovers either up or down on our weekly vertical, we know immediately that we have potential trades in our future. How do you get that notice? Well, all you have to do is text the words charting wealth. You make that one word, charting wealth, text that to the number on your cell phone, 33222. 33222. Sign up for our service and we will notify you the minute that occurs. Very important information to have. Means you'll be getting no more. It'd be great if you got 4 texts a month. Chances are you might get 1 or 2, no more than 6 if crazy things happened, but don't expect that. We'll never send you more than 6 a month. So 33222, text to that number, charting wealth. Lastly, our last chart for the day is our gold, and we see gold has not yet crossed over going down on the weekly, although we do see a lot of weakness there. Gold now has 5 down candles, lots of downward energy. Gold crossed over on the 2-day candle on Wednesday the 8th going down, continues to move down again, down for the day 0.54%, and we're well past the weekly trend line. Of course, we don't have the weekly vertical crossover going down yet, but when that happens, we'll notify you. And what does that mean? Of course, that means the following Monday, after we close that down week at 10:30 a.m., you look to jump in an inverse trade in gold and ride that sucker, ride it. Folks, we are here to help you. We're all about reading these stock charts, making the most of the information that we can glean, teaching you to successfully learn how to invest and trade in these exchange-traded funds. People ask me all the time, hey, what about stocks? What about, individual stocks? Well, we can track those also, but here's the problem I've run into. When you can rely so well on these weekly vertical crossovers, and you don't have to worry with an index about a certain individual, say the CEO's plane crashes, and all of a sudden you're great in a wonderful up move, and overnight your stock drops 20%, and you don't only lose what you had made in profit, but you lose your entire position, or you lose a large chunk of it, 20% of it. That's a huge hit to take. Now, can that happen in an index? Yeah. Is it likely to happen in something like the Qs, in something like the S&P 500, in something like TLT, bonds, in something like gold? Not nearly as likely. And in fact, we find these charts are eminently trackable. They're so easy for us to follow. When we start looking at our 2-day and our weekly charts, when we have these crossovers, they seem to work so well for us. That's what we're tuned into, is paying attention to these charts into things that work. Remember Occam's razor? It is keeping things as simple as possible. And as Einstein said, make things as simple as possible, but not simpler. Well, we make it as simple as we can. We obey our rules. And folks, they seem to work day in and day out if you're patient and if you apply them wisely. That's what we teach you every day. That's why if you care about learning how to read these stock charts, we want you to quit wasting your time listening to the television, because all that's about is getting you hyped up to watch their commercials, because that's what they're really selling. We want you instead to follow these charts with us every day, to fill out your daily market worksheets 4 days a week, your weekly market worksheet 1 day a week. Listen to us for 10 minutes. Also, when we put trainings online at Charting Wealth, listen to those. Take notes. Get yourself a little trader diary. But folks, it's all about spending just that 10 minutes a day, doing practice trades when we talk about them, experimenting, learning all you can learn. And once you get good at this, then and only then can you make up your own mind to spend your own money how you want. But in the meantime, let us educate you. Do practice what we call virtual trades. You can set up a virtual trading account at any of the online brokers. We want you to go ahead and do that. Make yourself a virtual millionaire. And then see if you can double that million, triple that million, quadruple that million. Once you start doing really good trades, then and only then, after you've had several months and you feel confident and competent, then and only then might you consider using your own money. And that's up to you. We don't give advice on that. We're not a stock calling service. We're an education firm, and we're happy to help educate you. And we always appreciate your observations, questions, and concerns. You can write us CW, that's like Charting Wealth, CW at chartingwealth.com. And please, by all means, go to our website, sign up for our daily newsletter, put in your first name, email address. We will send you the podcast that we do every day the market is open, in addition to the comprehensive weekly review and forecast. And with each of those emails, you will receive links to our How to Read a Stock Chart video, the layout that we use at freestockcharts.com, the PDF for the daily market worksheet and the weekly market worksheet. We are here for you. We love to hear from you. You are what it's all about. If you want to help us out, go to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating, say something nice about us. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's one of the other places we put up lots of our information. But go to that website, chartingwealth.com, sign up. Thank you so much, my friends. God bless you. Let us hear from you from chartingwealth.com. We sign off for yet another day of successful podcasting. God bless.